You know, it's been quite a long time since I was a reactionary teen. Had I been even just a year younger or a year slower in my development, as an 18-year-old, I'd probably have fallen to the wayside of right-wing populism and free markets of the modern anti-feminist or anti-SJW, or what we should actually call them, McCarthyist reactionaries, on YouTube. What's worse is that these people pose as rational or intellectual, despite not doing often more than an ounce of research, which has been proven before in prominent cases. What brings around this right-wing internet cultural zeitgeist? Why is appealing to base tendencies of fear of the unknown so much more popular than the seeking of knowledge? Is it just because it's simpler to be blinded by identity divisions, class divisions, or the dream of becoming more powerful in some means? Unlike many of the self-proclaimed skeptics, I delved into these theories espoused as rational, but most I found were nothing but drivel. This is the start of a series I'm calling the YouTube Red Scare.
Do you get it? Is like YouTube Red and the Red Scare and the rise of the right-wing YouTubers. Get it?
This first episode is going to handle the fear of real radical leftism, and the fear of engaging with it at all in an intellectual sense that many a rational will fail to do. How can we consider someone who misrepresents or doesn't engage with any theory or practice of the ideologies rational? With no serious knowledge of what is actually being said and posited by leftists, but reduced to taxes, the USSR, gulags, and cultural Marxism, many of their audience are left with a complete misunderstanding of the radical ideology on the left. But, strangely, they never shy away from giving a platform to the right. Almost as if these centrists have no real interest in true moderation. I'm going to specifically, for this edition, focus on true smarty pants, mega rational Sargon of Akkad, who in his video about the Black Bloc makes some questionable claims about ideology in general, and the actual theory and practice of anti-fascism. Let's just see some of his claims.
Isn't a flag a trapping of statehood? I mean, what are they going to have a national anthem borders next? And you're right, they're idiots. Calling these people anarchists is simply just inaccurate, but let's have a look at exactly who these anarchists are. And this explains the ineffectiveness of their physical violence against people like Richard Spencer. These people are soft, presumably middle class, and totally unused to any kind of violence. These are not like football hooligans that we see on the streets of British cities during a major match. These are in fact people LARPing as revolutionaries. Antifa and their Black Bloc tactics are effectively the expression of the radical political philosophies being cooked up in these social science courses in academia. They aren't universal and you can't blame anyone specifically for this, but this is something that is happening and we have to be aware of it.
Now, all of those claims are, as I'd think, rather uninformed. The flag's claim in particular is an oversight that I think is ridiculous, because then there must therefore be a gay pride state, or a Jolly Roger state, or a state that exists of Tibet, or Tanatuva, or Kurdistan, or hell, even Kekistan. Oh, and don't forget Sealand, you know, that totally independent country. They have a flag, therefore there must be a state involved. This is also another key thing. There's a difference between horizontally organized government and the hierarchy of the state. The latter remark about borders and anthems is ridiculous as well.
I mean, what are they going to have a national anthem borders next?
Hey, hey! Hey, hey! Hey, hey!
I think this is ridiculous because the anarchists in Catalonia and in the Free Territory of Ukraine had anthems and borders and governing bodies, but not hierarchical organization. Do you get it now? As well, the amount of meaningless buzzwords gets tedious.
A regressive leftist, delusional collectivist. Highly regressive. The regressive left and the anarchist communist.
Also, the worst part is that he assumes that he is always right and the audience always agrees with him, without any reason why. He's literally just preaching to the choir.
Every variant of anarchism will not happen. To learn more about the social contract, and I suggest you do, you will want to read Hobbes's Leviathan, Locke's Second Treatise, and Rousseau's The Social Contract.
I also think it should be noted that after this video was initially written, Sargon decided to dox someone he assumed was a violent member of Antifa, based on conspiracy theorizing by fascists on poll. This proving the centrist position of the rational is not quite so centrist. My theory is that Sargon likes the fash because they affirm that he's good the way he is, and the left says he needs to re-examine his behavior, his beliefs, and identity. These have all been said before by other critics of Sargon.
It's "you can't tell me what to do anymore, mum," but as a political position, and this is by no means specific to Sargon. It's an attitude held by plenty of people, usually straight white guys who, since they're currently coming out on top of things, figure, well, maybe we shouldn't bother trying to change anything at all.
And above all, if Sargon hates anything most, it's a rejection of the status quo.
Retweets. Fuck you! Fuck you, Bernie! Fuck off!
And what do leftists, especially radical leftists, do more than reject the status quo? Next, Sargon goes on about terrorism.
And if you want to thank Spencer's puncher, thank the Black Bloc. This is effectively a domestic terrorist organisation who commit acts of violence against undeserving targets for their own political purposes.
Terrorism is bad. Don't question anything. If I tell you they're bad, they must be bad. Listen and believe. Richard Spencer totally didn't deserve to be punched because he advocates peaceful ethnic cleansing, even though that's literally impossible. He said peaceful, so how could he be a Nazi, even though he's still advocating ethnic cleansing? Listen and believe.
The thing I find funny is that Sargon cannot read the article he's prepared, and is too lazy to do a second take and just runs with it. Like, I have dyslexia, and even I know that if I got something wrong, it means I do it over.
As I wrote in advance of the inauguration, if we recognise fascism in Trump's attendance, our response must be anti-fascist in nature. This is a ridiculous thing to say.
Unless that's his best attempt, which, if that's the case... Anyways, but apparently, anti-fascism is inherently communism.
As the fascism in Trump's ascendance, our response must be communist in nature, is what they are saying.
The other way around is true, but, like... Seriously? Ah, yes, I remember the day when the USA fell to communism before World War II.
Even though the US wasn't really opposed to fascism. What?
I get that makes the whole joke that I did pointless, but like... I wanted to make that joke because otherwise I would have nothing to say there. Like, what the fuck, Sargon? What the fuck are you on about?
God fucking damn it, Sargon, you're a fucking idiot!
But don't worry, McCarthy of Wisconsin has more to say.
It's like saying, if we recognise the Christian nature of the Pope, our response must be Islamic.
Sargon makes a lame analogy of anti-fascism being communism to say the opposite of Christianity is another religion, in specific Islam, even though it doesn't make sense because the opposite of a religion is like atheism. But like, oh wait, Sargon's playing bigotry bingo. Better bash the Muslims while he can, because in communism toothbrushes are haram. This is of course satire, but I have to clarify that in case I get strawmanned. I don't understand this point. He's really bad at rhetorical arguments.
Simply put, the Black Bloc is an excuse for violence, and the people who want an excuse for violence will join it and commit it, in the knowledge that they have their anonymity and safety in numbers. And I don't know whether Spencer is a neo-Nazi or not. There is never an acceptable time to punch one's political opponent.
Sargon makes the claim that Antifa just attack people they don't like, when in reality, they attack those calling for ethnic cleansing or advocating for the harm of people at a larger value. But of course, why would the Nazi apologists want to show the reason behind the violence? Just characterize them as thugs so your free speech, free thinking audience pays it no mind, while they regurgitate the same things over and over again to each other.
And so on and so on.
Almost like an echo chamber. Sargon also makes the claim that Antifa, and by a larger extent all ANCOMs, are just LARPing.
These are not like football hooligans that we see on the streets of British cities during a major match. These are in fact people LARPing as revolutionaries. I am involved in Antifa to an extent, have apparently never been exposed to violence. This is untrue. We may be kind, but by no means are we soft. Think about why Spencer might not have gunned down if you're going to use his punching as an example. Spencer was taller than the anti-fascist. Spencer is also a bit of a chubby guy. It's rather difficult, even with a running start, to exert enough force upward to knock someone over with a height and weight advantage. And yet Spencer still stumbled. And all this talk of Spencer about degenerates and weaklings, he ran at the first chance to take on one of these degenerates one-on-one. Who's the soft one? Wait, who's the one who ran around DC a whole day and was terrified of these weaklings? Oh, it was the oh-so-proud Aryan. Sargon emphasizes the LARPing aspect, even though the actions that Antifa and the Black Bloc undertake are some of the most effective. Look at the squatter movement. Look at how much Nazis are getting scared. Also, you don't need to be super strong if you have, I don't know, a gun or a baseball bat. And even if it were LARPing, it's some pretty serious commitment. Like, this is a really bad argument. Because if it were LARPing, there would have been no action taken against Spencer. The real LARPers exist both on the left and right. Some people will LARP as anarchists, but most of the people out in the Black Bloc aren't LARPing. Who is LARPing? Well, honestly, the people on Twitter talking about the Crusades and Kekistan and their right to Jerusalem or Istanbul, not Constantinople, and their white homeland, as it were. There are occasional radicals who step out of being LARPers on the right and go on to being violent and committed to their cause. But the thing is, when they get active, they actively aim to kill and quote-unquote cleanse. All we want to do is make Nazis afraid and bring about utopia. So fuck it. Even if we're really just dedicated LARPers, we're doing something, which is more than all you can say sitting behind cigars, Patreon, petitions, and a microphone. What is it you actually want, Carl? Please explain how you aren't the regressive one by wanting to go back to old liberalism, or old ideology, or past values. Why are we the regressives again? Who's the one making apologies for Nazis? If I had no conscience, I could make an easy living. And I could have so much money, but the thing is, I can't live like that. Maybe Carl can live actively not seeking the truth, but I can't. Next time, we'll see if we can find more examples of rationality or skepticism.